Texas update. Yeah, normally it's the first video of the day, but you know what? Hey, we'll save the election things, irregularities, lawsuit recap for the last thing of the day here because we had to wait for all the information to come in. And yeah, so more states have officially signed on to the Texas side, and then on the other side of the aisle, a few more states, 20 states and territories have also hopped on with Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin. So we'll run those down, and then we got a bunch of other weird and kind of... I don't know, man. This entire situation is really breaking down, and probably could break down a little bit further, especially if SCOTUS kind of weighs in on this, because they're the only court in the land that can actually do anything about this. This isn't a state's issue. This is a federal issue, regardless of how many smooth-brained fucking attorneys are out there trying to say the otherwise. Oh, the Supreme Court rarely ever gets involved. They've never done this. Oh, it's a state's issue, and they're just going to dismiss it anyways. Yeah, 2000 called. Anyways, 39 states and territories, come on Epoch Times, pick sides in Texas Supreme Court election challenge. More than 36 states and an assortment of lawmakers and third parties filed a flurry of briefs on December 10th, picking sides in a legal battle over whether the Supreme Court should consider a lawsuit brought by Texas that alleges that Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, and Wisconsin conducted their elections in violation of the United States Constitution. Oh, buddy, they did, and I love to hear the other complaints and the other arguments from the other side, because they are just merely at the point where they're just saying, we disagree with this filing, and you're just big, mean, stinky poo-poo heads for trying to bring this about. They range, you know? Okay, because Georgia, I'm pretty sure I covered that, but they were actually fairly measured in their response, because it's also a fellow Republican attorney general. He's like, we disagree with this filing, and we will have our day in court. It was something cordial like that, and then you guys remember, I think it was Jocelyn Benson who had the most deranged take at the time, but... we'll get into a couple other hot takes. Yeah, she was like, oh, you're just undermining the democracy. Yeah, well, you guys cheated, so fucking deal with it. 20 Democratic attorney generals filed a brief on December 10th in support of the defendants. A day earlier, 18 Republican attorney generals backed the Lone Star State. Republican Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost backed neither party. Fucking Ohio. You guys also elected John Kasich, remember that. Neither party, and opposed a relief sought by Texas. So he didn't support either side, but he also denounced Texas. Yep. Ohio voted 9-point victory for Trump, and nobody's contesting that one, by the way. So, Dave Yost, watch your ass next time you're up for an election. Namely, that the Supreme Court should toss out the election results in 4 contested states and order their state legislatures to pick electors in accordance with the Constitution. Actually, that's what they're arguing for there, Dave. You should probably read read the lawsuit before you comment on it. I know what we did over here, so... the 4 defendant states and the 20 Democratic Attorney Generals, all but one of the Democratic Attorney Generals in the United States, Iowa Attorney General Tom Miller, was the only Democrat who did not join the lawsuit as of the evening of December 10th. Okay, I was thinking that they might hop on the other side considering they did vote for Donald Trump, but I also didn't know that their Attorney General was a Democrat, so that does definitely throw a wrench into the proceedings. On the Republican side, Attorney General Representative 5 states didn't take action on the case. Idaho, man, that sucks. Alaska, I'd seen another briefing. I don't know if we'll get to it in this article here, but they said that they didn't have enough time to fucking read through it. I don't know, what do they have, seals in the fucking Attorney General's office? Or were their gloves just a little too thick in order for them to read through 154 pages over the course of 2 days? Regardless. Wyoming, that one hurts, but at the same time, they also went into a draconian lockdown right now, so I'm sure they aren't happy. New Hampshire, okay, that, whatever. And Kentucky got, you fucking dickheads. Whatever, if you don't have a strong opinion on it, don't bother hopping in on either side, because then you just end up hurting the case regardless. The governor of Alaska said his state attorney general didn't have enough time. I should have just read that through, but you know what? Hey, there it is. Review the lawsuit before the deadline to join the case. I'll be the first to admit that I was disappointed that we didn't have enough time to thoroughly review the details. Had this not been the case, we may have come to a different decision. Just fucking do something, Mike. get in contact with Ken Paxton there. He seems like a real reasonable guy. He had an interview this morning with Steven Crowder, who didn't really go over anything. It was just kind of like, yeah, we're doing this. I'm going to go see the president here later today, and a bunch of states are going to sign on. How many? A bunch. Could you tell us specifically which states? A bunch. Okay, thanks, Ken. But Mike Dunleavy said, yeah, in a statement emailed to the Epoch Times, my understanding is that the Supreme Court will make a quick decision prior to December 14th. Depending on the outcome, Alaska will respond accordingly. So they're just kind of going to go over it and see if they can jump in at any given time. You kind of expect them, based on that statement right there, that they're going to go ahead and, hop in or try to support as best they can, which is what all of those Amici briefs that we went over yesterday, that means that they are friends of the courts. And then if they filed for interference, or what is the proper term? Not interference, to intervene rather. Interference is what the Democrats are running. No, if they sign on officially to intervene like Trump and the campaign there did, they are coming in and they're bringing all of their legal sources. Being an Amici brief, a friend of the lawsuit there, that's what the official legal terminology is. That means that they are supporting the suit as best they can. They are just not putting any skin in the game. So it's kind of like if you're going to fight somebody and, your friend has your back. So, basically all that means is you're going to hold your book bag in your coat so it doesn't get fucked up, because the bully on the other side is much larger than you and he'll probably skunk you. Oh, here we go. We got a statement from Idaho's Attorney General Lawrence Wasden. Said he won't be participating in the case, citing concerns about the counter litigation. Oh, so he's just a bitch. As in, sometimes the case, the legally correct decision may not be the politically convenient decision. What a fucking sissy bitch. He said in a statement, this decision is necessary to protect Idaho's sovereignty. Yeah, just sit on some potatoes, you fruit. As Attorney General, I have significant concerns about supporting a legal argument that could result in other states. Oh, I don't want to face backlash just in case my side loses. What the fuck do you have to lose besides, the jurisdiction of the Constitution? I think that's probably worth fighting for, you bitch. Texas sued the 4 battleground states on December 8th. Exactly. The resulting irregularities put the ultimate outcome of the election in doubt. The Lone Star State claims Trump's campaign in the states of Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, and Utah filed formal nominations to intervene in the lawsuit on behalf of Texas. So there's our list. Our list stands at Trump, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, South Carolina, Utah, and the Lone Star State itself versus Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and Pennsylvania. So now we're just waiting. We're waiting on the Supreme Court, okay? There is nothing that we can really do. These are the two parties. They're going to go to war if the Supreme Court decides to take it up. As I stated in the beginning, it is the only court who can handle this decision. And considering everybody's involved, the fucking everybody except for, just a handful of places now? Like even Guam and Virgin Islands and DC have weighed in on behalf of the Democratic side. But yeah, that's what we have on the official side of things. But we also have some more support for the Texas side of the lawsuit, because 106 House Republicans back Texas election lawsuit in Supreme Court. I think they're going to have to take this one up, because there is way too much pressure for the Supreme Court to just look at this and go, nope. But here we go. A group of over 100 House Republicans are urging the United States Supreme Court to take up the lawsuit challenging the 2020 election results filed earlier this week by the state of Texas. The 106 lawmakers asked the nation's top court on Thursday for permission to file a friend of the court brief, so they would join in, just like Arizona, a bunch of the other. Arizona was the big one who filed the Amici brief after all the other 17 states have officially hopped on as friends of. So House Republicans are now joining in. So more news. Asked the justices to uphold the power of the state legislatures to establish how presidential electors are appointed and to determine the constitutionality of ballots cast and counted under election rules established by non-legislative officials. And that is also what the Attorney General for Ohio, which the statement we read here very, very early in the video, has also argued as well. So In the months before the 2020 election, those rules were deliberately changed on both state and non-state actors, the lawmakers wrote in their brief. Let's fucking go right to it instead of just taking the fucking word of the Epoch Times. As much as I love them, you know, they do a fucking really great job of characterizing and categorizing everything that is going on so far with the election. You guys want to run down to the names? Let's take a look. Mike Johnson, Gary Palmer, Steve Scalise, Jim Jordan, Ralph Abram, Rick Allen, James Baird, Jim Banks, Jack Bregman, Andy Briggs, Gus Burax, Dan Bishop, Mike Boast, Kevin Brady, Mo Brooks. Good old Mo Brooks. You know what? He was going to fucking do it anyway, so you might as well just throw your name into the official capacity. Ken Buck, Ted Budd, Tim Burchett, Michael C. Burgess, Bradley Byrne, Ken Culvert, Earl Buddy Carter, from Georgia, Ben Klein, Michael Cloud, Mike Conway, Rick Crawford, Dan Crenshaw, the One-Eyed Bandit, Mario Diaz-Balart from Florida, Jeff Duncan, Neil Dunn, Tom Emmer, Ron Estes, Drew Ferguson, Chuck Fleischman, Bill Flores, Jeff Fontenberry, Virginia Fox. No way. That's not a real representative. That's hilarious. Russ Fulcher, Matt Gaetz, you know he was going to be there. Greg Gianforte, Bob Gibbs, Louis Gomert, Lance Gooden, Sam Graves, Mark Green, Michael Gast, Andy Harris, medical doctor, Vicky Hartzell, Kevin Hearn, Clay Higgins, Trey Hollinsworth, Richard Hudson, Bill Huzengia. Man, that took a long time to find a fucked up name. Bill Johnson, John Joyce, Fred Keller, Mike Kelly, the man fighting Act 77, has got to definitely throw his name on this one. Trent Kelly, Steve King, David Kustoff, Darren LaHood, Doug LaMalfa, I wish it was LaMafia, Doug Lamborn, Robert E. Lada, what has he got so much of? Debbie Lesko, Blaine Lukemeyer, Kenny Merchant, Roger Marshall, Tom McClintock, Kathy McMorris Rogers, Dan Mauser, what a badass, Carol Miller, John Molinar, Alex Money, Mark Wayne Mullen, Gregory Murphy, Dan Newhouse, Ralph Norum, Scott Perry, Guy Retschlather, Tom Rice, John Rose, David Rouser, John Rutherford, Austin Scott, Mike Simpson, Adrian Smith, Jason Smith, Ross Spano, Elise Stefanik, Glenn G.T. Thompson, I bet he goes fast, Tom Tiffany, William Timmons, Ann Wagner, Tim Wahlberg, Uncle of Donnie, Michael Waltz, Randy Weber, Daniel Webster, Brad Wenstrup, Bruce Westerman, Roger Williams, Joe Wilson, Rob Whitman, Ron Wright, Ted Yoho, and last but not least, Mr. Lee Zeldin from the wonderful state of New York. I know that was long and boring. You guys got the fucking skip button if you found it a little bit too obnoxious, but here we're going to go right into it. Pursuant to subparagraph 2 of Rule 37, Amici U.S., Representative Mike Johnson et al. Hereby move the court to leave to file a brief amicus curiae in support of the plaintiff's Texas motion to leave to file a bill of complaint and motion for a preliminary injunction. This brief is filed timely as it is filed approximately the same time as the defendant's response to plaintiff's motions as they were due December 10th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. In support of their motion, these Amici state, as members of the federal legislature, Amici seek to protect the constitutional role of the state legislatures in establishing the manner by which the presidential electors are appointed to ensure the Electoral College states the candidates of the President of the United States that was chosen by counting only lawful votes. Amici includes 106 United States representatives currently serving in the 116th Congress listed above. Relevance would be this brief amicus curiae presents the concern of the Amici as members of Congress shared by untold millions of their constituents and millions that the unconstitutional irregularities involved in the 2020 presidential election cast doubt upon the outcome and integrity of the American system of the elections. Amici respectfully aver that the broad scope of the impact of the various irregularities in the defendant states necessitate careful and timely review by this court. on the merits of the amicus brief, defends the constitutional authority of the state legislatures as the only body duly elected to establish the manner by which the presidential electors are appointed. One of the central issues in the pending litigation, as members of the federal legislature Amici seek to protect the constitutional role of the state's legislatures in determining the manner by which those states choose their electors. Goddamn right, that is what is in the Constitution. It's not for the governors to unilaterally decide who the fuck they are going to send. The position of the parties due to the press of time to file the amicus brief before the deadline given to the defendants and the need to coordinate among Amici. The position of the parties of the motion is unknown. In conclusion, for the foregoing reasons, Amici respectfully request that the court grant the leave to file the brief amicus curiae, which is appended here too. They throw in their official support in whatever capacity they possibly can, and you know what? You goddamn well love to see it. And here's a weird one, and we're going to end it on this one. Pennsylvania House Leader, Pennsylvania, mind you, the defendants in this case, filed brief to support Texas, the House Leader, in Supreme Court lawsuit against Pennsylvania. So Josh Shapiro's probably shitting his pants. He's the Attorney General in Pennsylvania, by the way. Pennsylvania House Speaker and Majority Leader on Thursday filed the Amici Curiae brief with the Supreme Court against the state of Pennsylvania in favor of Texas's lawsuit against the Commonwealth and 3 other states. Hilarious. A brief filed by Pennsylvania House Speaker Brian Cutler and Majority Leader Kelly Benninghoff. Both Republicans requested that the Supreme Court carefully consider the procedural issues and questions raised by the plaintiffs concerning the administration of the 2020 general election in Pennsylvania. So they even know that shit's fucked up there, and they want in. The unimpeachability of the elections require clear procedures of administration so that everyone gets a fair shake. Unfortunately, outside actors have so markedly twist the gerrymandering the Commonwealth's election code to point that Amici finds it unrecognizable from the laws that they enacted. Oh, you love to see it. And then all of those fucking smooth brains that were defending all of the moves that were in Pennsylvania saying that, oh, you know what, Tom Wolf went and fucking signed everything in, so that must mean that it's fair. Guess what? Even the fucking the leader of the House and the House Speaker is saying that shit is fucked up. And it also raised important questions of how the procedural malfeasance affected the 2020 general election. So I've been racking my brain thinking about this suit the entire day. It's like, okay, what is the logical reason that they could circumvent their own personal states' constitutions and even the United States Constitution? Okay, if they wanted to go ahead and give the most charitable interpretation of why they had to do this based on the pandemic, why would they all have made these unilateral decisions prior to the pandemic happening? Act 77 wasn't finished. The law up in Michigan was rushed through and unconstitutionally signed in by Jocelyn Benson, and it didn't go through the legislature. The WEC, the Wisconsin Election Commission, went and just made the fucking changes without telling anybody. And then Georgia just has a litany of problems as well. And even their attorney general's like, yeah, I kind of hope you guys win, but at the same time, just keep it on the down low. But at least some prominent Pennsylvanians are speaking up, and it's not just like, you know what, you guys don't have cause, or they're just saying that fucking Tom Wolf and Josh Shapiro are poo-poo heads undermining the democracy. No, they have legitimate complaints and they're addressing the issues there. And that's all you're finding right now. Okay, you have the blind support of everybody out there, and then at the same time you have this people who are supporting this and who are telling you what the fuck is going on, so you are better equipped to dealing with the fucking smooth-brained opinions like, oh, I see this guy here who has 212 downvotes, and that's how we're going to end this, because this is your typical response. Even after Biden is inaugurated, you goobers are still going to find a way to rationalize it. Trump is secretly still the president, or we've warped into an alternate universe or something even dumber, just so you don't have to accept reality. If you just accept that you're in a cult and you were duped, it explains everything. That's all they have. Oh, you're in this mega cult. Oh, you just live in an alternate reality. Meanwhile, you look back through their past and you realize that they were peddling all the fucking Russiagate nonsense, or Trump hired 2 hookers to piss on a bed. Fuck off. It explains why the Trump campaign keeps getting laughed out of court. Really? Where have all of their official lawsuits landed? Oh, they're still out there. Duh. It explains why Joe Biden is moving into the White House. Is he? Or is he just standing in front of a fake banner that doesn't really mean anything? I think that's the case. People free themselves from cults all the time. I think he should take his own advice. Start by leaving your banana's information bubble for 1 minute a day, then 2, then 5. Oh, okay. It sounds like he's outlining his own personal plan. Before you know, it will be a functioning adult again, or you will be a functioning adult again who isn't constantly whining and getting triggered to the point where you have to threaten murder all the time. That right there is the most projected post I have ever read in my life, and I had to share it with you guys before we decide to call it a day, because the only people who are threatening murder all the time are the people on his side of the aisle. Everybody else is just wanting to have a legally lawful election. Okay, we don't want to have to fucking deal with the screw ups that are happening at a multitude of levels right now. We just want to know the fucking truth of the matter. And you know what? Once SCOTUS decides that they're gonna take a look at this, because they are the only court of jurisdiction, so they don't need the 4 Supreme Court justices to sign on to that. I've heard of the rule of 4, where it needs to have 4 Supreme Court justices before they take up the case. That is not the case, because once again, the United States Supreme Court is the only state that has jurisdiction over this kind of massive lawsuit involving 2 interstate parties. So yeah, couch yourself in the facts, and before you get bombarded by these fucking internet Twitter lawyers that are circulating around right now, thinking that they know fucking everything if they listen to certain hacks out there. I don't want to, name drop any certain lawyers, but one could probably fly around his green screened library. If you fucking get that one, you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, guys, that is the update. It could happen over the weekend, whether SCOTUS is going to take this up, or if Alaska, and I don't know if Ohio officially joins on. They said that they aren't going to, but at the same time, they're kind of like supporting the fucking outcome. Yes, he doesn't even know what the fuck he's talking about. So if we get more information on this tomorrow, I'll be talking about it. Anyways, guys, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.